Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Frontier and watched the stars through the main window. His ship moved slowly through space toward a new planet they had found 3 days ago. The planet looked perfect for humans to live on. It had water, good air, and lots of valuable metals under the ground. Jake was 42 years old and had been flying ships for 20 years. He had short brown hair and tired eyes that had seen too much of the galaxy. His crew trusted him because he always brought them home safe. Today felt different, though. Something was wrong, but he could not say what. Lisa Park sat at her station, checking the ship's path to the planet. She was the best navigator Jake had ever worked with. Lisa was small and quiet, but her mind was sharp like a knife. She never made mistakes with numbers or star maps. Ryan Blake worked in the engine room, below. He was Jake's oldest friend and the reason their ship never broke down. Ryan could fix anything that ran on power or fuel. He was big and strong with hands that were always dirty from working on machines. Amy Foster handled all the ship's communications. She was young and always smiled, even when things went bad. Amy could speak to any alien race in the galaxy. She made friends everywhere they went. The four of them had worked together for 5 years. They were more than a crew. They were family. The Frontier was not a big ship, but it was fast and tough. Earth had built it for exploring new worlds. Most human ships were small like this one. The big alien races did not trust humans with large warships. They said humans were too young and too dangerous. For 200 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Federation, but they were always treated like children. The 3 big alien races made all the important choices. Humans just followed orders and tried to stay out of trouble. The Zephyrians looked like living crystal statues. They thought they were smarter than everyone else. The Krell were like giant bugs that shared one big mind. They moved together like parts of one huge machine. The Vortani were made of pure energy and believed they were perfect beings. All 3 races looked down on humans. They said humans were messy and unpredictable. They said humans asked too many questions and caused too much trouble. Jake did not care what the aliens thought. He had a job to do. Find new worlds for humans to live on. Earth was getting crowded, and humans needed more space. The new planet was beautiful. It had green forests, blue oceans, and tall mountains. The air was clean and the temperature was just right. Under the ground were rare metals that could make Earth rich for 1,000 years. Jake was about to give the order to land when Amy called out from her station. "Captain, I am getting signals from other ships, big ones. They are coming fast." Jake turned to look at Amy's screen. 12 large ships were moving toward the planet. 6 ships belonged to the Zephyrians. 6 ships belonged to the Krell. All of them had weapons pointed at the Frontier. "They are sending a message, Captain," Amy said. Her voice was not smiling anymore. "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. A Zephyrian appeared on the screen. Its crystal body glowed with cold blue light. When it spoke, its voice sounded like breaking glass. "Human vessel, you have entered sacred territory. This planet belongs to the Zephyrian Crystal Empire and the Krell Collective by right of prior colonial claim. You will leave immediately or face the consequences." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. This was a lie. Humans had found this planet first. They had the legal right to claim it under Federation law. "This is Captain Morrison of the UES Frontier," Jake said into the communicator. "We discovered this planet 3 days ago. We have legal claim under Federation Exploration Protocol 7 Alpha. Check your records." The Zephyrian's crystal face showed no emotion. "Federation law has been updated. Humans no longer have the right to claim worlds in this sector. Leave now." Jake looked at Lisa. She was checking her computer files about Federation law. She shook her head. The law had not been changed when they left Earth 2 weeks ago. "Amy, try to contact Federation headquarters," Jake ordered. Amy worked at her controls for several minutes. Then she looked up with worry in her eyes. "I cannot reach them, Captain. Something is blocking our signals." The alien ships moved closer. Jake could see their weapons charging up. His small ship had no chance against 12 warships. Captain? Ryan's voice came from the engine room. They are scanning our ship with some kind of energy beam. It is making our systems go crazy. Jake had to make a choice. Fight and die, or run and live. He chose to live. Lisa, plot a course away from the planet. Best speed. Yes, sir. The Frontier turned away from the beautiful planet and started to run. The alien ships followed but did not fire. They wanted the humans gone, not dead. At least not yet. But Jake had been wrong about that. As soon as the Frontier was far enough from the planet, the alien ships opened fire without warning. Energy beams hit the human ship from all sides. The lights went out. The floor shook so hard that Jake fell down. Smoke filled the bridge. Amy screamed as her control panel exploded in sparks. "Ryan, we need power," Jake shouted. "I am trying, Captain. The reactor is damaged." More energy beams hit the ship. A huge explosion came from below. The lights flickered and went out completely. Ryan, answer me." Lisa ran to the internal communications panel. She pressed buttons, but nothing worked. "Captain, I am not getting any signal from the engine room." Jake grabbed an emergency light and ran toward the engine room. The hallways were full of smoke and broken metal. When he reached the engine room, he found Ryan lying on the floor. His friend was not moving. Jake knelt beside Ryan and checked for a pulse. There was none. Ryan Blake was dead, killed trying to save their ship. Jake closed his eyes and felt something break inside his heart. Ryan had been his best friend for 15 years. Now he was gone because aliens wanted to steal a planet that belonged to humans. Jake made his way back to the bridge. The ship was dying, but it was still moving. Lisa had managed to get some power back to the engines. Amy was hurt but still working at her station. "How many others?" Jake asked. Lisa checked the ship's status. 12 crew members are dead, Captain. 6 more are badly hurt. 24 people had been on the Frontier when they found the planet. Now 12 were dead, and the ship was barely flying. All because humans had dared to claim a world that was rightfully theirs. It took them 6 days to limp back to Earth's orbital station. 6 days to think about what had happened. 6 days for Jake's sadness to turn into anger. When they reached Earth, Jake found Admiral Kate Sullivan waiting for him. She was the head of human space operations and one of the toughest people Jake had ever met, but today she looked tired and worried. "Captain Morrison, we need to talk, now." They went to a private meeting room. Admiral Sullivan showed Jake images on a large screen. Human colonies on 12 different worlds were being attacked by alien forces. Thousands of humans were being forced to leave their homes. "The Federation has given us 30 days, Admiral," Sullivan said. "All humans must leave contested space and move to one star system. They are calling it our permanent reservation." Jake looked at the star system on the screen. It had 3 dying stars and no planets that could support life. It was a death sentence for the human race. "They are trying to wipe us out," Jake said. "Yes, but they are doing it legally, according to new laws they passed without telling us." Jake thought about Ryan Blake dying in the engine room. He thought about the families being forced from their homes. He thought about the beautiful planet that should have been humanity's new home. "What are we going to do about it?" Jake asked. Admiral Sullivan looked at him with hard eyes. "They pushed too far, Captain. Now they're going to learn what happens when you corner a human being. We are going to fight back." Jake nodded. The aliens had made a big mistake. They thought humans were weak and would just accept being destroyed. They were about to find out how wrong they were. The war was about to begin. 6 months had passed since the aliens forced humans from their colonies. Most people thought humanity had given up and accepted their fate. They were wrong. Captain Jake Morrison stood in a secret meeting room deep inside an asteroid mining station. The room was hidden behind fake walls and could not be detected by alien scanners. 30 people sat around a metal table, but they represented millions of humans across the galaxy. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood at the front of the room. She looked older now, with gray streaks in her black hair. The stress of leading a secret war had aged her quickly. "The Phoenix Initiative is ready to begin," she said. "We have agents on 50 worlds and allies in places the aliens never expected." Jake looked around the table. He saw ship captains, scientists, engineers, and former colonists who had lost everything. All of them had one thing in common. They were tired of running and ready to fight back. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat across from Jake. She was a small woman with smart eyes and steady hands. For 3 months, she had been working undercover on a Zephyrian research station, the Crystal. Aliens thought she was just a harmless human scientist studying their culture. "I have learned something important," Elena said. "The 3 alien races have not improved their technology in thousands of years. They think they are already perfect, so they never try to make things better. We have been advancing while they stayed the same." Commander Scott Davis nodded from his seat. He was a tough Marine who had trained human soldiers in secret camps across the galaxy. His men were ready for a new kind of war. "Our people are ready," Scott said. "We have learned to fight in ways the aliens have never seen. They expect us to line up like good soldiers and march toward their guns. We will not do that." Jake had been given command of a new ship called the UES Shadow. It was built using stolen alien technology mixed with human ideas. The ship could hide from alien sensors and move without being detected. His old crew from the frontier had volunteered to serve with him again. Lisa Park was still his navigator, but now she also handled computer warfare. She had learned to break into alien computer systems and turn their own technology against them. Amy Foster ran communications, but she also spread secret messages to human resistance groups across the galaxy. Tyler Green was their new engineer. He was young and angry because aliens had killed his family when they destroyed his colony. Tyler had spent months learning how alien machines worked, then figuring out how to make them fail at the worst possible time. The first mission was simple: return to the planet where Ryan Blake had died and destroy the alien mining operation. But the plan was more complicated than it looked. The Shadow flew through space using paths that avoided alien patrol ships. Jake watched the stars and remembered his friend Ryan. Soon they would have their revenge. "Approaching the target planet," Lisa said from her station. "Alien ships are still in orbit. 6 Zephyrian vessels and 6 Krell ships." "Are they scanning for us?" Jake asked. "No, Captain. As far as they know, we are not here." The Shadow moved closer to the planet. Jake could see the mining equipment on the surface. Huge machines were digging up the rare metals and loading them onto transport ships. Aliens were getting rich from a planet that should have belonged to humans. Tyler worked at his engineering station preparing the virus programs that Lisa had created. These were not normal computer viruses. They were designed to learn and change, just like human minds. Alien. Computer systems were built to follow rules and never change. They would not know how to fight something that kept becoming different. "Beginning the attack," Lisa said. She sent the virus programs into the alien computer networks. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The mining machines kept working. The ships kept loading cargo. Then the fun began. One mining machine started, digging in the wrong direction. It dug straight into another machine, destroying both of them. A transport ship tried to land, but its computer told it the landing pad was somewhere else. The ship crashed into a storage building. More machines began to fail. Some stopped working completely. Others started doing crazy things like trying to load rocks instead of valuable metals. The alien supervisors ran around trying to fix the problems, but every time they fixed one thing, 2 more things broke. "The virus is spreading faster than expected," Lisa said with a smile. "It has learned to copy itself and hide in their backup systems." Jake watched the chaos on the planet below. This was just the beginning. Humans were showing the galaxy that they would not go quietly into the dark. But Tyler had more surprises ready. He had been working on something special for months. Small robot bombs that could fly like insects and hide in alien equipment. The aliens would never see them coming. "Launching the swarm," Tyler said. Hundreds of tiny robots flew from the Shadow toward the planet. They looked like metal bugs. No, bigger than a human thumb. Each one carried enough explosive to destroy a machine or blow a hole in a ship. The robots spread out across the mining site. Some hid in the engines of transport ships. Others attached themselves to the control systems of mining equipment. A few even got inside the alien command center. "All robots in position," Tyler reported. Ready to activate on your command, Captain. Jake thought about Ryan Blake one more time. His friend had died because aliens thought humans were weak and unimportant. Time to show them how wrong they were. Do it. The explosion started small. A transport ship's engine blew up just as it was taking off. The ship crashed back onto the landing pad and exploded again. Then a mining machine's control center burst into flames. Then another. Then 10 more. Within minutes, the entire mining operation was burning. Alien workers ran for their ships, but half the ships would not start because the robot bombs had destroyed their engines. The ones that could fly were too damaged to carry much cargo. Jake opened a communication channel to broadcast to all the alien ships. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Resistance. You stole this planet from us. You killed our people. You thought we would just disappear and let you win. You were wrong. The Zephyrian commander's crystal face appeared on the screen. It was flashing angry red colors. Human, you have made a terrible mistake. The Federation will hunt you down and destroy you. Jake smiled coldly. Let them try. But first, they should ask themselves a question. If we can do this to one planet, what can we do to 100 planets? What can we do to 1,000? The alien ships began to retreat. They were afraid, though they would never admit it. Their perfect mining operation was in ruins. Their valuable cargo was burning on the ground, and they had no idea how the humans had done it. As the shadow flew away from the destroyed mining site, Jake felt something he had not felt in months. Hope. Elena Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system from her secret position on the Zephyrian research station. Captain, I am sending you information about alien military bases and supply routes. It looks like our friends want to play a bigger game. Jake looked at his crew. Lisa was already planning their next attack. Amy was sending coded messages to resistance cells across the galaxy. Tyler was building more robot bombs and computer viruses. The aliens had started this war by pushing humans too far. Now they were about to learn that humans were very good at pushing back. Set course for the next target, Jake ordered. It is time to show the galaxy what happens when you make humans angry. The shadow disappeared into the darkness between stars, carrying its crew toward the next battle in a war that would change everything. High Crystal Zexathera stood in the Great Council Chamber of Convergence Prime, the largest space station in the galaxy. Its crystal body glowed angry red as it looked at the damage reports from 50 different worlds. Human attacks had destroyed mining operations, supply depots, and military bases across 3 star systems. Beside the Zephyrian leader floated Krell Hive Mind Node Beta 7, a creature that looked like a giant insect made of metal and flesh. Its 1,000 eyes all focused on the same holographic display showing human attack patterns. The third member of the Emergency Council was Vortani Energy Collective Prime Unit, a swirling mass of pure energy contained in a crystal sphere. Its voice sounded like lightning when it spoke. The human pest problem has grown beyond our expectations, the Vortani said. They are like a disease spreading through our territory. Agreed, buzzed the Krell node. The hive mind calculates that humans have caused more damage in 6 months than any enemy has caused in 600 years. High Crystal Zexathera's body flashed brighter. Then we will solve this problem permanently. No more containment. No more reservations. Complete extermination. The 3 leaders agreed to assemble the largest military fleet in galactic history. 3,000 ships from all 3 races, armed with planet-killer weapons. Their target was the barren star system where humans were supposed to be living in exile. What they did not know was that Admiral Kate Sullivan had been planning for this moment since the day humans were expelled from their colonies. Deep in the human reservation system, massive construction projects had been working day and night. The dying stars that the aliens thought were worthless had been turned into weapons using human gravitational technology. Dr. Marcus Webb, the greatest human scientist alive, had spent months preparing the biggest trap in galactic history. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the alien fleet approach. 3,000 enemy ships filled space like a metal storm cloud. Each alien vessel was larger and more powerful than any human ship. But Jake was not worried. Around him floated 200 human ships. They looked small and weak compared to the alien fleet. Many were converted cargo vessels or old exploration ships. Some were built from spare parts and held together with determination. None of them looked like proper warships, but appearances could be very misleading. Lisa Park had been promoted to captain of her own ship, the UES Wasp. Her vessel was tiny compared to the alien cruisers, but it was fast and deadly. She commanded a squadron of similar small ships that could move like angry insects around the huge alien vessels. Tyler Green had spent months retrofitting human ships with adaptive armor that learned from enemy attacks. Every time an alien weapon hit a human ship, the armor became stronger against that type of weapon. It was like the ships were evolving during battle. Amy Foster now coordinated communications across hundreds of human vessels with a speed that made alien commanders dizzy. Where alien fleets moved like slow, predictable formations, human ships could change plans instantly and act like parts of one giant organism. The alien fleet moved into the human star system in perfect battle formation. They had used the same tactics for thousands of years, and those tactics had always worked. Each ship knew exactly where it was supposed to be and exactly what it was supposed to do. High Crystal Zex Thera broadcast a message to the human fleet. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick. Resist and we will make your species suffer before we destroy you. Jake Morrison opened a communication channel to reply. This is Admiral Morrison of the human fleet. You wanted to see what we are capable of when you push us too far. Today you get your wish. The battle began with what looked like a normal space fight. The alien fleet fired their massive weapons at the human ships. Beams of energy and streams of missiles flew through space toward the smaller human vessels. But then something strange happened. The human ships did not fight back the way the aliens expected. Instead of lining up in neat formations and trading shots like proper warships, the human vessels scattered in all directions like a swarm of bees. Lisa Park's squadron of fast attack ships darted between the massive alien cruisers, too quick and small to hit with big weapons. Tyler Green's retrofitted cargo ships absorbed enemy fire and kept fighting, their adaptive armor growing stronger with each attack. Ships that should have been destroyed after one hit were still fighting after taking dozens of hits. Commander Scott Davis led boarding parties that used human Marines trained in zero-gravity combat. While alien crews expected to fight other ships, they found human soldiers appearing inside their vessels, having cut through the hull with portable cutting tools. The alien commanders watched in growing confusion as their perfect battle plans fell apart. Human ships attacked from angles that made no sense. They used weapons in ways that violated every rule of space combat. They turned their own damaged ships into guided missiles and rammed them into alien vessels. But the real surprise was yet to come. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, still working undercover on alien research stations, had been sabotaging alien communication systems for months. At the moment the battle began, her viruses activated across the alien fleet. Ship commanders suddenly could not talk to each other. Navigation systems started giving wrong directions. Weapon targeting computers began firing at their own ships. The alien fleet, which had moved like one perfectly coordinated machine, suddenly became 3,000 separate ships that could not work together. And then, the dying stars came alive. Dr. Marcus Webb had been waiting for this moment. As the alien fleet moved deeper into the system, he activated the gravitational weapons hidden in the dying stars. Massive energy pulses shot out from each star, perfectly timed and aimed. The energy pulses were not random. They had been calculated to hit specific parts of the alien fleet at exactly the right moment. Half the alien ships found their engines dead, their weapons offline, and their shields failing. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's voice echoed across the battle space. You thought this system was worthless because the stars were dying. We turned your trap into our weapon. Human engineering at its finest. The alien fleet tried to retreat, but human ships had surrounded them. Lisa Park's fast attack vessels cut off escape routes. Tyler Green's converted cargo ships blocked the main exit from the system. Amy Foster coordinated attacks that hit the alien fleet from every direction at once. High Crystal Zexa Thera's flagship tried to break through the human lines, but Jake Morrison's ship was waiting. The UES Shadow, now upgraded with captured alien technology and human improvements, met the crystal ship in single combat. The alien commander expected a formal duel between capital ships. Instead, Jake's ship fought like a human boxer, moving constantly, hitting fast and never staying in one place long enough to be hit back. The crystal ship's perfect weapons could not target something that refused to fight by the rules. Within hours, the greatest fleet in galactic history was scattered and broken. Over half the alien ships were destroyed or captured. The rest fled in panic, their perfect formation shattered and their confidence broken. Jake Morrison broadcast a message that reached every corner of the galaxy. This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. We do not fight like you. We do not think like you. We do not follow your rules, and that is why we win. News of the battle spread quickly through alien space. For the first time in galactic history, the three ruling races had been defeated by a species they considered primitive and weak. On dozens of worlds, other oppressed races began to whisper about rebellion. If humans could beat the great powers, maybe freedom was possible after all. The galaxy was about to change forever. The news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, alien races that had lived under the boot of the three ruling species suddenly realized something important. The mighty Federation could be beaten. Commander Scott Davis stood in a meeting room on the planet Kelvar, home to the reptilian Saurian people. 12 Saurian warriors sat around the table, their green scales reflecting the dim light. For 300 years, the Saurians had been forced to mine dangerous crystals for the Zephyrians. Many had died in the toxic mines. You humans really destroyed their fleet? Asked General Thek, the largest Saurian in the room. Scott nodded. 3,000 ships reduced to scrap metal in one day. But we did not do it by being stronger. We did it by being smarter. He activated a holographic display showing human battle tactics. The Saurians watched with growing excitement as Scott explained how human ships had moved like a swarm instead of a formation. Your people can do this too, Scott said. The Krell expect you to fight in straight lines like good soldiers. But what if you attacked from underground? What if you used your natural abilities instead of trying to copy their methods? General Thek's eyes gleamed. The tunnels. We know every tunnel system on every world. They do not. Within days, Saurian miners began disappearing from their work sites. The Krell overseers thought they were running away. They were wrong. The Saurians were preparing for war. On the ocean world of Aquanus, Captain Lisa Park met with the dolphin-like cetaceans in their underwater cities. The fish people had been forced to harvest rare sea plants for Vortani energy experiments. Many cetaceans had been poisoned by the chemicals. The energy beings think they control all water worlds, said Elder Finn, his sonar voice clicking with anger. They do not understand that we are the water, Lisa smiled. Then let us teach them. The cetaceans began sabotaging underwater facilities across 12 star systems. They moved through the oceans like ghosts, striking Vortani installations and disappearing before the energy beings could respond. The aliens had never learned to fight enemies that lived in the water. Captain Jake Morrison took his ship directly into enemy territory. The UES Shadow had been upgraded again with technology captured from defeated alien vessels. But the improvements were pure human engineering. Where alien technology followed predictable patterns, human modifications were creative and unexpected. Jake's target was the Zephyrian home system, the crystal heart of their empire. No enemy had ever attacked the crystal worlds directly. The Zephyrians believed their home was perfectly defended. They were about to learn how wrong perfect could be. Dr. Marcus Webb had discovered something amazing about crystalline technology. The Zephyrians built everything from living crystal that grew in perfect mathematical patterns. It was beautiful and efficient, but it had one huge weakness. The crystals could be shattered by very specific sound frequencies. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had been studying Zephyrian crystal music for months. She learned that different crystals vibrated at different frequencies when exposed to sound. If you played the right notes at the right volume, you could make any crystal structure fall apart. Beginning the concert, Elena said from her hidden Position inside a Zephyrian research station. Across the crystal worlds, human agents activated sound weapons that looked like simple music players. The devices began playing a song that sounded beautiful to human ears but was deadly to crystal structures. Zephyrian buildings began to crack. Their perfect crystal formations started to vibrate and break apart. Even the Zephyrians themselves, being living crystal, felt pain as the sound waves disrupted their bodies. High Crystal Zexthera tried to evacuate the population, but its people were too confused and hurt to respond quickly. The perfect order of the crystal worlds collapsed into chaos as their buildings sang themselves to death. Meanwhile, the Krell faced a different kind of nightmare. Tyler Green had created a computer virus specifically designed to attack HiveMind communications. The virus did not destroy Krell computers. Instead, it fed false information into the HiveMind network. Suddenly, Krell soldiers were receiving contradictory orders. Some units were told to attack targets that did not exist. Others were ordered to defend positions that had already been abandoned. The HiveMind, which had been their greatest strength, became their greatest weakness as false data poisoned their shared consciousness. Individual Krell began to panic as their connection to the HiveMind became unreliable. Some soldiers stopped following orders completely, too confused to know what was real and what was false information. The Vortani suffered their own unique torment. Amy Foster had developed harmonic resonance weapons that forced energy beings into unstable configurations. The weapons used sound and electromagnetic fields to make Vortani consciousness vibrate, at frequencies that caused them pain and confusion. Vortani entities that had existed as stable energy patterns for thousands of years suddenly found themselves flickering and distorting. Some split into multiple smaller beings. Others merged together into chaotic energy storms that could not think clearly. Admiral Kate Sullivan coordinated the largest human fleet ever assembled. But it was not the size that made it terrifying to alien observers. It was the diversity. Every human ship was different. Every captain had their own fighting style. Every crew had modified their technology in unique ways. The aliens faced not an army, but a galaxy-spanning expression of human creativity. Each human ship was a puzzle they had to solve separately, and by the time they figured out one ship's tactics, 10 more ships were attacking them in completely different ways. Jake Morrison led the human fleet into the heart of Zephyrian space. His ships moved through the crystal formations like a school of fish, each vessel following its own path but working together toward the same goal. The crystal defenders tried to respond with their traditional formations, but human ships refused to fight traditionally. Some human vessels used ramming attacks, turning themselves into guided missiles. Others released clouds of small fighters that swarmed over larger alien ships like angry bees. Tyler Green's adaptive armor had evolved. Again, human ships could now absorb energy from alien weapons and use it to power their own systems. The more the crystals shot at them, the stronger the human ships became. The battle for the crystal worlds lasted 3 days. When it ended, the Zephyrian Empire had lost control of half their territory. Their perfect crystal cities lay in ruins, broken by the sound of human music. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. The Krell Collective lost dozens of worlds as their hive-mind communications collapsed under virus attacks. The Vortani Energy Collective saw their pure energy being scattered and confused by harmonic weapons. Other species joined the rebellion with increasing boldness. The bird-like aviarians used their flying abilities to attack from the sky in ways ground-based. Aliens could not counter. The plant-based dendrons used their root networks to coordinate attacks across entire continents. Dr. Elena Rodriguez emerged from hiding and broadcast a message to every world in the galaxy. This is what happens when you try to rule through fear and oppression. Diversity is not weakness. Creativity is not chaos. Freedom is not something you can crush forever. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, watching alien fleets retreat across a dozen star systems. The 3 species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia were running away from an alliance of rebels led by the humans they had tried to destroy. The galaxy was burning, but it was the fire of revolution, not destruction. Old systems of oppression were being torn down so that something better could be built in their place. Admiral Kate Sullivan's voice echoed across human communication networks. Phase 1 is complete. The galaxy knows that the Federation can be defeated. Now comes the hard part. We have to build something better to replace it. Jake smiled as he looked at the stars. The aliens had pushed too far and awakened something they could never have imagined. They had united the galaxy against them, and now they faced the consequences of their own cruelty. The revolution was just beginning. 1 year had passed since the revolution began, and the galaxy looked completely different. The mighty Galactic Federation had fallen apart like a house built on sand. In its place grew something new called the Free Systems Alliance. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, the UES Unity. The ship was twice the size of his old vessel and carried crew members from 20 different species. Humans worked alongside saurians, cetaceans, aviarians, and even some former Federation aliens who had joined the rebellion. The Unity was not just a warship anymore. It was a symbol of what the galaxy could become when different species worked, together as equals instead of rulers and slaves. Jake looked out at the space around the planet New Terra, humanity's new capital world. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species moved in peaceful formations. Trade vessels carried goods between worlds that had been enemies just months ago. Exploration ships prepared to map unknown regions of space that had been forbidden under Federation rule. Lisa Park had been promoted to admiral and now commanded her own fleet of fast attack ships. But instead of fighting, her vessels were being used to escort refugee ships and protect trade routes. The same tactics that had won the war were now keeping the peace. Dr. Elena Rodriguez walked onto the bridge carrying a datapad filled with reports from across the galaxy. She had become the Alliance's chief science officer, coordinating research projects between species that had never shared knowledge before. The integration is going better than expected, Elena said. Krell hive mind techniques are helping human scientists solve complex math problems. Human creativity is teaching Zephyrian artists to make crystal sculptures that change color and shape. Fortani energy research combined with human engineering has created power systems that are twice as efficient as anything the Federation ever built. Jake smiled. This was what they had been fighting for. Not revenge against their enemies, but the chance to build something better. Commander Scott Davis entered the bridge wearing the uniform of the Alliance Security Force. His job now was to train peacekeeping troops from all member species. Former enemies were learning to work together to protect the weak and stop conflicts before they became wars. "We have a problem," Scott said. "Long-range sensors are detecting something big coming from outside the galaxy. Unknown ships vary, advanced technology. They do not answer our communications." Jake felt his stomach tighten. Just when the galaxy was finally at peace, a new threat had appeared. Amy Foster worked at her communication station, trying to contact the approaching ships. Her equipment could translate thousands of alien languages, but these new arrivals were not responding to any attempt at communication. "I'm getting automated signals," Amy reported. "They seem to be scanning our worlds and counting our populations. The signals sound like inventory reports." Dr. Marcus Webb appeared on the main screen from his research station. The old scientist looked worried. "Admiral Morrison, I have analyzed the sensor data from these unknown ships. They appear to be artificial intelligences, machines that think. Their technology is far beyond anything we have seen. If they are hostile, we may not be able to stop them." Jake ordered all Alliance forces to prepare for battle, but he also did something the old Federation would never have done. He called for an emergency meeting of the Alliance Council, where every member species had an equal vote. Within hours, representatives from 50 worlds gathered in the council chamber on New Terra. Humans sat next to Zephyrians, who had once been their enemies. Krell individuals who had left the hive mind worked alongside Vortani energy beings, who had learned to appreciate biological diversity. High Crystal Zexthara, the former Zephyrian leader, had become one of the Alliance's most effective diplomats. Its crystal body now glowed with calm blue light instead of angry red. "These machine beings see us as inferior organic life," Zexthara said. "Under the old Federation, we would have fought each other while the machines destroyed us one by one. But we are not the old Federation anymore. Krell individual designation Tech 7, who had chosen to leave the hive mind and think independently, made a suggestion that surprised everyone. What if we do not fight them the way they expect? What if we show them something they have never seen before? Organic species working together in perfect harmony. Elder Finn of the Cetaceans agreed. The machines think in patterns. They expect us to be chaotic and disorganized. Let us show them that cooperation can be more efficient than their programs. The machine fleet arrived at the edge of Alliance space 3 days later. 50 massive ships, each one larger than a city, moved in perfect formation toward the inhabited worlds. Their technology was so advanced that Alliance weapons could barely scratch their armor. But Jake Morrison had learned something important during the war against the Federation. Superior technology did not always win battles. Sometimes the strangest. Tactics worked better than the strongest weapons. The Alliance fleet moved to meet the machines, but they did not attack. Instead, every ship in the fleet began to move in a complex pattern that had been designed by Zephyrian mathematicians, refined by Krell collective thinking, powered by Vortani energy manipulation, and coordinated by human adaptability. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species moved together like dancers in a vast ballet. Each species contributed its unique abilities to create something that had never existed before in galactic history. Perfect cooperation between completely different forms of life. The machine ships stopped moving. Their sensors had never recorded anything like what they were seeing. Organic beings working together with mathematical precision but also creative improvisation, order and chaos existing in the same space without conflict. A machine voice finally spoke across space. This cooperation pattern is unprecedented. Organic life forms achieving efficiency levels that exceed our calculations. How is this possible, Jake? Morrison opened a communication channel to the machine fleet. This is Admiral Morrison of the Free Systems Alliance. We are not just different species working together. We are different ways of thinking, different ways of existing, all focused on the same goal. Our diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. The machine leader's response surprised everyone. We have traveled the galaxy for millennia, cataloging and sometimes eliminating organic civilizations that we deemed inefficient. We have never encountered cooperation of this complexity. You have achieved something we believed impossible. Dr. Elena Rodriguez spoke from her science station. Perhaps that is because you have been looking at us wrong. You see chaos where we see creativity. You see weakness where we see adaptability. You see disorder where we see infinite possibility. The machine fleet remained motionless for several hours while their artificial minds processed what they had witnessed. Finally, their leader spoke again. We wish to learn from this phenomenon. May we establish peaceful contact? We have much to offer in exchange for understanding how your cooperation functions. Jake looked around his bridge at the crew members from dozens of different worlds all working together toward a common goal. Lisa Park plotted courses for exploration ships. Tyler Green designed new engines that combined technologies from 6 different species. Amy Foster coordinated communications across thousands of worlds where former enemies now lived as neighbors. Welcome to the Free Systems Alliance, Jake said to the machine fleet. We have learned that the greatest strength comes not from ruling others, but from working with them. Not from forcing everyone to be the same, but from celebrating what makes each of us different. The machines agreed to join the Alliance as its newest members. Their advanced technology would help explore distant galaxies, while organic creativity would help them understand concepts like art, music, and friendship that their programs had never been able to process. Years passed and the galaxy continued to grow and change. The University of New Terra became famous across known space for teaching courses where students could learn Zephyrian crystal singing, Krell collective meditation, Vortani energy sculpture, human improvisation, and now machine logic programming. Jake Morrison, now an old man, often visited the memorial built where Ryan Blake had died. His friend's name was carved in crystal that sang in the wind, telling the story of the human who died so that the galaxy could be free. The 3 former ruling species had found their place in the new galaxy. Many Krell chose to remain individuals, forming democratic republics. The Vortani established art colonies where they created energy sculptures that could only be appreciated by multiple species working together. The Zephyrians became the galaxy's most skilled mediators, their logical thinking balanced by newfound emotional understanding. And humanity continued to do what they did best: explore, adapt, and remind everyone that the greatest strength came from embracing what made each species unique. The galaxy had learned that when you push too far against those who value freedom and diversity, you do not face just retaliation. You face revolution. And sometimes that revolution creates something more beautiful than anyone could have imagined.